start with a question. Did you wake up today saying, gosh, I would really love to own a home inspection franchise? Probably not. But your mind may change after you learn about today's featured franchise, Pillar to Post, the #1 home inspection franchise in North America. Hi, I'm Stacy Riska, and I'm joined by my husband, Dave Riska. We are your expert franchise matchmakers, here to help you do what you love what you do, in a business that's a perfect match for you. To help you learn more about our featured franchise today, we have Brenda Gemmel, who is the franchise recruitment director at Pillar to Post. So Brenda's going to share with you why Pillar to Post, why now, and why this just might be the next that you're looking for. Now, I am not an expert in home inspections, but I do know a little bit about the business. In my previous life, which I'm going to share a little bit more about with you in a moment, I owned a marketing agency, and one of my clients was in the home inspection business. So I got to learn a little bit more about the business. And I was always so enamored with how he would tell me, oh, this business gives me so much freedom and flexibility. I love that I can schedule appointments when and where and how I want. And I can take my kids to and from school and participate in all of their extracurricular activities. And because I was seeing his numbers, I knew that the money was really good. So as you learn today about the Pillar to Post opportunity, keep an open mind. Think about the business model. Would it work for you? Jot down your questions and answers. We are here to make sure you get those answered. So as we're going through today's session, please feel free to use the chat, put your questions in there, and then we will also open it up for everybody to ask your questions live if you'd like at the end. So as we start these sessions, we always like to get a sense for who's in the room with us. So I'm going to put a poll up on the screen, and I have a question I want to know. What is your current situation? So on the screen, you see some different answers. Are you working full-time, working part-time? Maybe you're doing some gig work. Maybe you own a business already. Are you semi-retired, full-time retired, or not working at all? Which of these best describes your current situation? All right, I'm going to close it down. 3, 2, 1. Wow, we have people all over the board here. Full-time, part-time, gig work, not working. Here's the great thing. It really doesn't matter what your current situation is right now. As you're going to hear from Brenda, they have almost 500 franchisees in this system. And those franchisees were likely where you are now, but yet they've decided to come into this amazing business opportunity. So thank you for sharing that. Dave, I think you might have a question for everybody.
Yeah, I do. Thanks, Stacy. So first off, I want to thank everybody for joining us today to learn a little bit more about franchising and a wonderful franchise opportunity, Pillar to Post, which you'll learn more about in a minute. And one of the things that we always want to know when you come to us to inquire about a franchise is, what is your why? Why do you want to be in business? And what we find is that frequently these answers fall into what we call the 8Fs: freedom, flexibility, financial security, fun, fulfillment, family, future, and fallacy of job security. So if you would be so nice and tell us, what is your why? Why would you want to own a business?
They're pouring in, Dave.
All right. What do we got, Stacy?
Ready to close it down?
Yep, let's close it down. See what we got here.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's share these results.
Wow. Okay. Pretty common. These are two, when we run this poll, these generally are the top two that we get from most times we run this poll for these types of presentations. And the interesting thing is that both of these are going to directly tie in with some of what Brenda's going to be sharing with you in just a little bit with Pillar to Post.
Absolutely. Okay, wonderful. So thank you everybody for participating in the poll so we can get a sense of what your situation is and why you might be looking at business ownership. But you're probably thinking, well, that's great, but who are Dave and Stacy and why are they so passionate about franchising? Well, we're so glad you asked. And the simple answer is it's because franchising is the fastest, easiest, most simple way to get into business for yourself. And that's the key word. In a franchise, it's a proven system where you can be in business for yourself, not by yourself. And we know this because we've been down all of the paths. Dave and I, we started our journey, perhaps like many of you have as well, where we graduated college and we got the 9-to-5 job. And after 10 years of doing that, we're like, we need a change. And we decided it was time to give our middle finger to corporate America. And we spread our entrepreneurial wings and started a business from scratch, where we were doing back office work for associations and nonprofits. And it grew very quickly and successfully, so much so that we actually ended up buying 2 more businesses along the way. And after 10 years of doing that, I kind of joke, oh, well, Stacy had her midlife crisis. And Dave said, well, what the F is our next? And then the light bulb went off. Well, that F is actually a franchise, a proven system. And but which one would we do? Because there's so many different franchises out there. So fun fact for you, do you know how many different franchise concepts there are? Well, there's a lot. That magic answer is 4,000. So with more than 4,000 franchises, how were we possibly going to know which one could be the right one for us? Well, luckily enough, we worked with somebody who does what we do today and helped us get clarity on our skill sets, our why. And ultimately, as my wall says, he came back and said, well, if you guys could do what you love what you do, what would you be doing? And our answer was, we want to live at the beach, work behind a tiki bar, serving umbrella drinks. And he said, great, I have the perfect franchise for you. So we ended up investing in a Hawaiian themed coffee smoothie business, which we still own today, 18 years later. And you know what? We have been the #1 franchisee in the system since day one. So people were reaching out to us saying, gosh, you guys are rocking it with your marketing, business building. Can you help me? No, can you just do it for me? And so the entrepreneurs in us said, yes, we can. So Dave and I started a done-for-you marketing agency. And then this thing called COVID hit. Maybe you've heard of it. Well, just like it really caused everybody to hit the reset button and pivot, for us, it really did the same. Dave and I decided to hit the reset button because when we looked at what we were doing, we were really working ourselves to the bone. We had gotten away from our why, and we had decided it's time for us to pivot and reset. We really both wanted to continue working, but we wanted to do it with a lifestyle business so we could travel and enjoy our time, because the reality is we're in the 4th quarter. And so we want to go out and have fun and enjoy ourselves. But we both have a drive and a passion to help people get into business and be successful. So that's why we do what we do today. We run Next Level Franchise Group, where we help people such as yourself learn about and explore business ownership. And here's the thing, it's not for everybody. And if it's not for you, we're going to have a candid conversation about that. But for those who want to go down the path and explore and see if it might be a good fit, we will match you up to concepts that could be a really good fit. And you might be wondering, it sounds so expensive. What does it cost to work with you guys? Well, you're going to love the answer because it doesn't cost you anything. Our services are completely free to you. We get paid by the franchises when we make a successful match. All right. So now what I want to do is you guys are here to learn about the Pillar to Post franchise opportunity. So I'm going to make Brenda the host, and she is going to help you learn more about this exciting opportunity. As we're going along, again, please put your questions in the chat and we'll open it up at the end for Q&A. Welcome, Brenda.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks a bunch for, carving out some time to learn about Pillar to Post. We appreciate your, time and attention. I'll look forward to sharing more. Let me make you a little bit smaller. No, there we go. So I can see my slides. So this slide, interesting, right? I've got control of the slides, do I?
You should have control, but you're not sharing.
Oh, weird. Okay.
There you go.
That good?
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. So the pictures that you see on this slide are really of some of the teams at Pillar to Post. The one on the top is Scott and his wife. They run a business. They also have involved their son, who's to the right of them. He is one of the inspectors. This is their daughter. She's in marketing. So we have a lot of family franchises, and he's built quite another business is this couple here in Connecticut. And they grew an interesting way. So this is their team, and they just about doubled, well, more than doubled their size just this last year. So this is an old picture by buying a neighboring franchise. So there's growth, or organically, growth by buying another franchise, growth by buying other franchise or other inspectors. I just wanted to share with you a couple examples. Let's see. Trying to figure out how I can. There we go. All right. We're a leader in the home inspection by really any measure. And we'll talk more about that. Some of our, the attributes that we get to be a leader come from our parent corporation for Service Brands. They've been around for 34 years. We've been in business for 30 years. So we've got a proven system. Our parent company also owns 4 other home services franchises. You might have heard of those brands: CertaPro Painter, California Closets, Paul Davis Restoration, Floor Coverings International. Point being, we know a lot about the home services sector, and the goal always to be the leader in our sector. We've done over 3 million inspections. That's such a huge number. To maybe put it into perspective, last year we did 175,000 inspections, or I really should say our franchisees and their employees did those. This is a recession-resistant business, right? Because people are always buying real estate. We'll talk more about that in a minute. We're 480 franchisees strong. Maybe 10% of those are in Canada, 90% in the US. They have about 30% of our franchisees have employees. We probably 30% of our franchisees are veterans, but we have people from all walks of life that get into this business. Some of our top franchisees, the one that I showed you earlier at the top, was a fireman. The ones below, she was a dental hygienist, and he did he had a small remodeling business. We've had accountants be in the $1 million club, business analysts be in the $1 million club, ex-Air Force be in the $1 million club. So all kinds of different walks of life. It's less about in the inspection, it's more about the people part of the business. So we'll talk more about that. We're leaders in terms of revenue. Our franchisees make more money than anyone else in the industry, And that is because we have something special and different to offer. So we, on average, you see here, make more money per invoice. The normal inspector out there who's, starts his own business, let's call him Chuck in a truck, he's making about $400 per inspection, and we make $650. The average other franchise system makes around $500 per inspection, and we're making $650. How is that, right? Because we've got something special and different. Don't have enough time today to show you those things, but if you're interested in this, concept, would love to spend, I usually spend about an hour with show and tell on how we are super different and better than everybody else. And the crux of the reason is because we own our own software. We strategically 21 years ago built our own software, and that allows us to be innovative. That allows us to integrate technology. We are doing things no one else is doing in the industry. We have more million-dollar producers. We actually have a special coach for them now. So you always have a coach with us, which is a unique thing that none of the other franchisors offer. And we have startup coaches for your first year. We've got long-term coaches to help you, grow and become profitable and be the size that you want. And then we have coaches for top producers as well. All right, I think I've got that. And the training, that is another leading thing. Our training is about 3 times in terms of just time alone. It's an 11-week course. Sounds like a lot, but we want people coming out of this confident and competent on the 3 parts of the business. Number 1 being, you got to learn how to inspect, right? Even if you don't intend to be an inspector the whole time you're running the business. You might intend to work eventually in a few years, 20 hours managing the business and the rest of the time golfing or on the lake or whatever, your thing is, or with kids. But you got to learn how to inspect so you can manage your people. And so a portion of that training is about that. A portion of the training is about the second aspect of the business, which is the sales and marketing. You've got to go out and meet and build trust with realtors. That is the best strategy. And then you're also going to learn how to manage the business, right? And manage your people and hiring and all those skill sets. So the training is very comprehensive. Why now? Stacy brought that up. People love what we're doing. Realtors say things like, well, there's Pillar Post and there's everybody else, kind of that we stand out that much. Realtors love us. We save them time. We're a good reflection of them, with our professionalism, technology, thoroughness. We're really the only innovator out there, and we continue to do that. When you buy a franchise, any franchise, you not only need to think about where that franchise is today, but where they're going to be in the future, because you're going to be owning this thing for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And so you want to pick somebody with a great future. We're innovators, have been for 30 years and will continue to do so. The other thing is we're taking market share. What does that mean? Our market share is growing. That means we are taking away business from our competitors. And that's a good thing. And that has to do, again, with our coaching, our training, our products. It's really the whole package. Yeah. The second thing about why now is real estate's always selling. Even though the media, sometimes you would think, oh my gosh, there's no home selling anymore because of the interest rates. Yes, there has been a decline since the crazy COVID sales days. There were about 5 million homes sold in the United States. Now we're a hair over 4 million. So there's still home selling everywhere. And we do an analysis and look at how many homes are selling in your area. The vast majority of places everywhere in the US and Canada, there are loads of homes for sale, and therefore a lot of work to be done by home inspectors. You can grow fast also as we're recovering from that dip, and it's going to start to climb again, right? We're already seeing that. I think in February, we were already 14% over year to date last year. So growth is happening. People are getting used to the new interest rates. That pent-up demand is sort of just bursting because real estate flows like the river of life, right? People move, they take new jobs, they have babies, they have empty nests. And so there's all those normal reasons people buy houses, and that never changes, right? Another fun fact is we heard years ago that millennials will never buy homes, right? They're just going to be sort of floating around, renting, taking jobs and changing jobs every year. Well, it's not true. Turned out then a few years later, millennials are buying houses because their dogs need a yard. That's a fact. Unbelievable, but true. And now millennials are the largest sector of home buyers. They are 38% of the homes buying are bought by millennials. So they've surpassed baby boomers, which are at 31%. So, real estate is a great business. And why now? Because we are focused on helping people grow bigger businesses. This is a strategy change we made last year. So we're focused on people who want to build a significant business, not just buy a job, right? And we can help you do that. A lot of these things are tied to this pillar to post difference, how we are different, how our franchisees can make more money because we innovate. We've got 3 different packages, and you'll also be selling added services, things like mold and lead paint and asbestos and backyard sprinkler systems and sewer scoping and what's another popular one? Radon in some states. So there's the services that we offer. We offer 3 packages, added services, and then the fact that we're offering technologies and useful things to customers that they can't get from anybody else. The other pillar to post difference is that we have coaches. No other franchisors have the amount or quality of coaches we have. We have about 11 coaches, and I talked about, for every phase of your business life, we have a coach. They teach you the path to building. Let's break the record, right? Right now, our top guy does 3 million in home inspections. So let's break the record, and we've got the path to do that. We've got a whole hiring system. The other thing that we take off your plate is as much work as possible. So you're going to print the report on site. All the other inspectors out there, they are working on their reports at night. I just talked to a gentleman this morning. Yeah, he spends on average an hour and a half every night compiling reports, when our software is smart enough to do that for you right at the house, and then you print the report. With our marketing systems, we're going to build your website. We're going to take care of all your 5-star reviews. We're going to take care of your social media. We have 200 pieces of literature. You don't have to fuss with that stuff. You really just have to focus on the 2 important pieces to get this business launched and ramped is going out and talking to realtors and doing a great inspection. And then you're going to hire another inspector so that you can focus on growing the business. We have a call center that answers the phone from 8 a.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Because when do people buy houses? In the evening after work and on weekends, right? So we got to be able to answer the phone for those folks and their realtors. It's mostly realtors who call to book. We talked about the training program. We also have free training for your employees. That way you can continue to ramp fast. And we have a special sales training that's called Predictable Greatness. If you follow this formula, you will get business in. Sales is sort of a mathematical formula, right? Sales is a funnel. You put talking to realtors in there, in volume, quality conversations, and then you get business out the bottom of that funnel. And we have a system for that as well. The idea here is take off as much, back end admin kind of stuff so that you can focus on going out and growing the business, hiring great people, and building your team up. This is another cool team picture. This is Jeff in Orlando. Here's Jeff and his inspectors and some of his admin staff and his wife. They've got a nice, big business. And these folks are really great because they were where you are today. Every single picture that I've shown, and along the path that you would go with me to learning, we've got a structured 8-step learning path. One of the steps is to have you talk to as many of these folks as possible. We require that you talk to at least 3, but most people talk to 6 or 7, and some people have talked to 25. We want you to really feel comfortable in the business, and that's what my process is all about. This is our strategy, the 3 big things, fancy name, right? Number 1, have a fantastic differentiated experience. If you're going to take business away from somebody else, you've got to be different, right? And better. And so we have that. Some of the things I've been talking about are integral to that. You have to do consistent and persistent sales and marketing. You can't grow without that. And, we've got all the systems to help, the social media, all the literature that you need, all the presentations that you need. And we teach that in depth. We teach that in the kind of depth like you'll learn how to inspect a house, right? We have scripts and everything, and you're going to practice those and make them your own. But you don't have to worry about, oh gosh, how do I do it? What do I say? What do I do? There's a system for that. We train you on that. You just have to be willing to go out and execute on that. And we have the capacity to, you need to have the capacity to do inspections when the customer wants. You're going to have open slots, but maybe they don't sync up with when the customer wants it. So having capacity, hiring inspectors on a regular basis as your business grows is super important, because every time they call, we want to be able to say, what? Yes, I can do it at that time. When I say no, I'm really giving away the business to somebody else. And so that is a real key piece of the business. And a lot of these, the reason that we're taking market share away is because your competitors, they're not doing these things. They don't get this. They don't understand this. And that's a competitive advantage. This is a model about, I've said a couple times now, the path, right? So we have a structured way for you to grow your business over time. Here it's showing the number of inspectors, and in minutes, very microscopically revenues and stuff, but you and I would get into that kind of detail if it's something you want to learn more about. And so to further show, more about our support teams, as I mentioned, we've got the coaches. We've got training, not only an 11-week startup program, but training forever. We have an annual conference every year. On Friday, I'm going down the hill to Salt Lake because one of the coaches is doing a 1-day business development training, right? With all the franchisees from Utah and Montana and Idaho, etc. And I like to go to those myself because I always learn something about our business. But that's the kind of continuing education. We even have a online learning system that's got literally hundreds of training classes in it. We have a marketing team that's going to provide you not only the training in the very beginning, but all the assets you need to be professional out in the marketplace, right? Couponing programs and social media, and there's an advertising blitz that's going to go out to announce you to 500 realtors. We've got a full marketing suite to promote your business. This is that call center again. Great asset. If you're in the middle of an inspection, you can't pick up the phone. You've lost that job, right? If you're talking to a realtor, you can't pick up the phone. That'd be rude, right? You've lost that job. So these guys are great and have your back all the time. We also have other methods because you always have to be easy to work with, right? That's a great attribute. People love working with people that are easy. They make it easy to work with them. So easy to book an inspection is an important thing. So besides even having the phone, we've got an online system. So if they're realtors up at midnight, and a lot of them are, they're trying to close that deal, they can go online and book an inspection. We even have a realtor app that they could use. Again, innovation, using technology to our advantage. Because we own our own software, naturally, we have our own IT help desk. I personally use them when I have IT issues. They're fantastic. I type in, hey, I need some help. I have this kind of problem. In a couple seconds, there's a ticket generated, and we measure everything, right? As a good company, we're improving things, and you can't improve unless you measure. And those guys are measured on it. I can tell because they're very rapid. So you always have help. Another thing that's not a formal support from corporate, but you're with a family of 500 other franchisees. So, people in your area, sometimes our coaches connect people that they're making their first hire. Sometimes they connect people that are hustlers and movers and shakers, right? That are really ramping fast. They connect those people. And you'll have some natural connections. You'll make friends, right? You're going to start through my process of learning. You're going to start to meet people. So lots of opportunity to develop relationships with other franchisees. They're not your competitors, right? They're part of the same system. Everything that everybody does builds the brand. The brand is like the ocean, and it floats all the boats being the franchisees. So we have a lot of franchisees that work together, do marketing programs together, and just chat with each other about their kids' ball games or whatever, right? You'll have friends in the business. Success, what is that built on? Here's just a few of the attributes. You've got to be self-motivated and resilient. People are going to tell you no in any business that you might get into. You're going to get no's. It just means no, not yet. Okay. And like I said, sales is a formula. So what if there's no's? You do the number of work, the amount of work you need to do, you will get business. You've got to be able to build trust with people and have great people relationships, and the discipline to follow the system. The system works. Every once in a while, we will get a person who, after they buy the franchise, they don't follow the system. And then they struggle and they wonder why. And we're reminding them, of course, they're coaches, you need to do this and you need to follow the system and do that and that. Sometimes people are resistant. And then they go talk to other franchisees and get reminded, just follow the system. And then they follow the system, and then they have success. So it really does work. This picture is, this happens to be ex-Army. This is Paul from Fayetteville, North Carolina, out of Fort Bragg, 21 years in the Army. His last few years were in recruitment. Imagine recruiting high schoolers into the Army. So he had some people skills, and he built a business really fast. This was his first hire in his first year, and this is an older picture. His team's even grown further, but he was one of our rookies of the year, fastest growing. So what are we looking for? What are the attributes that we're looking for in people that have the most success in this kind of a business? You need to align with our values, and I'm going to review those with you during our discovery process. Be self-confident. Know your strengths and weaknesses, right? We all have them. Play to your strengths, hire for your weaknesses, right? Great communication skills, enjoy being with people, a willingness to go out and do sales. Being professional, right? This might seem like a trade, but we have elevated it to a profession. Receptive to external rules, that's the franchise, right? And we'll talk about, the framework of a franchise. 100% full-time, no other side gigs. We've known, because of our 30 years, when people have too many things going on, there's a lack of focus. So if you want to grow $1 million business, the current record to beat would be 4.5 years. So I would love to talk to people that want to build a $1 million business in 4 years or 3 years. it takes full-time dedication and focus, right? And then to be financially prepared. It's about 88 to 100K in your first couple months. You're going to need a total of 150 liquid, over the course of time to invest in the business. You also need a way to pay your bills. People do that lots of different ways. And Stacy or Dave can fill you in on those. They've got some really, really great resources. And let me close with talking about a couple of these pictures. Oh, this is a team that is over in like Dayton, Ohio area. Awesome team. He was in the business for about 10 years, doing well, but was thinking about either getting out or, which would be selling it, and doing something else or recommitting. And he's a man of faith, and he went to, a faith-based retreat and decided to recommit. And now he's got a business that's over $1 million. Really, really great couple, these two. This team, the Capuanos. Yes. Humble beginnings. They were about this far from declaring bankruptcy. 25 years ago, they bought a franchise on a credit card, and now they do about $2 million on revenue. Yeah, fantastic. Our top producer, the $3 million guy, I don't know why I don't have a picture of him in here. I need to do that, but he camped to save money at his first annual conference, right? Instead of being at the hotel, the Marriott, he camped to save, and now he's a $3 million from humble beginnings. And this is, they say business is what, 90% between the ears, the mindset. Yeah. From humble beginnings can grow great things. And I would encourage you to reach out to Stacy and Dave and see how we can help, and would love to answer questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Brenda. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to open it up to Q&A. Let me see. Let me pull up the chat. I wasn't monitoring it. Greg, you said quick question. Not sure if you want to put that in the chat, or anybody can unmute, ask a question live, or raise your Zoom hand and we'll call on you. But let's make sure everybody gets your questions answered for sure. Greg was asking, how long does an average franchisee maintain their business? Great question.
Oh, how long do they keep it?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. I'd have to ask that. We are a 30-year-old franchise, and how our franchise works is you sign a 5-year contract, and then it's renewable 5 more times for a total of 30 years. So we have people now that are considering re-upping for the next 30, in 5-year increments. We've got a handful of those. We've had people build a business in 8 years, $1 million, and sell it for 800,000, right? These are valuable assets. With a very low failure rate, very, very low. In-home inspection in the entire industry, the failure rate's about 65 to 70%. It's atrocious. And the reason is they don't know this stuff that I just shared with you, right? They struggle. They just don't know, because all the courses just teach you how to inspect, whereas a franchise gives you the entire package you need. And our failure rate's maybe 8%. And the reason is people are not going out and doing the marketing, right? You've got to be a people person, or hire that. You can hire a marketing person. Some of our franchisees do that, but I don't have the answer to that question. It's a good one. But lots and lots of success, low failure rate. I think those dovetail into your question.
Yeah, well, it seems to me with 500 franchisees and a 5-year franchise agreement term, they are obviously re-upping, renewing, because to get to that $1 million, $2 million, $3 million mark. They are building lucrative businesses. And so they obviously are happy in it. I think a big benefit that you didn't talk about of the pillar to post opportunity is that there's actually barriers to entry. And that can be a good reason to look at this type of a business, because when you think, oh, I'm just going to go put up a coffee shop or, do the same business that everybody else is doing, this is one that has barriers to entry. And there's actually a big benefit to that. And as Brenda alluded to, that's why they're kind of eating and gobbling up the competition. So, yeah, because of all the training and the support and the back system supports that they provide, you can see why this is a superb franchise. Okay, Tony was asking about gross margins and numbers. I don't know what you can share with publicly, but I'm sure you go deeper individually with people. What can you share, Brenda?
Many of our franchisees are still single owner operators, right? And right now we're, as a company, completely focused on helping build bigger businesses, right? We don't really allow that single owner operator model anymore. So in my what's called a franchise disclosure document, special document we'll be reviewing, I do have some numbers. So for any business with 2 or more franchise or inspectors, 2 or more inspectors, the average gross revenue in a year is a tick short of 400,000 gross. We have, like I said, our top producers, 3 million. We've got about, I think it's $14 million operators. Some of the other formulaic numbers that you might have interest in is one inspector can do 300, 350 inspections in a year. And I told you already the average inspection is about 650. So you can do the math on that. $1 million business is just 4 inspectors. It's not, doesn't need to be huge. And you probably have somebody answering, you might take your phones in-house, that kind of thing. In my franchise disclosure document, and I don't have the figures off the top of my head, but if we set up an appointment, we can review it. I also have, average gross revenue by the number of inspectors. So the next group being 3 to 5 inspectors, the next group being 6 inspectors, et cetera. For gross revenues, but it's a high margin business. This is a service-based business, right? No brick and mortar needed, right? No office space, no lease. Just one person can start it. And then you would make an inspection, another inspector hire your first year. So you grow it, right? You're getting business in, you add another inspector, more business in, add another inspector. So that's how you grow it and build it. And we're a service-based business, so there's no big supply of products or anything that you need for this business. There's not a lot of expensive equipment or anything. It's maybe 4K in special tools and things. And so it's got a lot of real positives that way.
Wonderful. Brenda, a lot of the candidates that Dave and I work with, and you kind of covered it very quickly where you said, 30% of our franchisees are veterans. Well, Dave and I, we love working with veterans. They are a lot of the candidates that we talk to. So I'm curious to know, I know you're very supportive of veterans. Is there a discount for veteran franchisees in your system?
Yes. The discount on the franchise fee. So remember I said it's about 88K to 100K in your first couple months. The 88Ks veterans, 100Ks non-veterans, because we can give them a 20% discount on the franchise fee, which is $58,500. So that amounts to about a $12,000 discount. It's substantial, and we have a lot of like I said, 30%, and a lot of them very successful franchisees. What I do very much do on purpose is, as I'm meeting people and talking to them and understanding their profession and the goals that they have and their lifestyle and their family, and if they were in the military or what their other career was and what industry they were in, because we have 500 franchisees, I try to have them talk to people that are like them. I have them talk to people that have done what they want to do. Yeah. And you'll start to, get a really good sense of the business, and that there are people just like you that have done this. Yeah.
Wonderful. Any other questions? We want to make sure everybody gets their questions answered. Great. So thank you for joining us today. You're probably saying, this is great. I've learned so much today. What's next? Very simple. Our contact information is on the screen. So you're invited to reach out to us. We're happy to connect you with Brenda. And look, here's the thing. I said there's 4,000 different franchises. We hope that Pillar to Post is the one that you want to learn more about and move forward with. But maybe one of the 3,999 other ones might be a better fit for you. So if you've come to the end of today's session and you're open and you want to learn and explore what franchise might be the perfect fit for you, reach out to us. You can call, email, text. Our website is there on the screen. And if you go to explore.nextlevelfranchisegroup.com, that'll take you to our calendar. We would welcome a conversation to learn more and see how we can help you. All right, last call for any questions for Brenda to learn more about Pillar to Post. All right, Brenda, you knocked it out of the park. Thank you so much for joining us today and being here with us to learn about the Pillar to Post franchise opportunity. We look forward to continuing the conversation with you. Make it a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.